My name is Kristin Durfee, and I'm the author of the Four Corners trilogy. Book 1 is available now through Black Opal Books and all major retailers. So where did I get the inspiration for writing Four Corners? I got the inspiration, it was a couple of years ago at Thanksgiving. I was having a conversation with my niece, and she was discussing about how interesting it would be if dragons were real and if magical creatures were real. And I had this very vivid vision of her if she were to work at, say, like a stable, but instead of just horses, they also had dragons. And so I wondered what kind of world that would be like, where instead of just cats and dogs running around, there were maybe magical creatures running around, and if that would be a world within our world or separate from it. And so as I asked myself these questions, the characters started presenting themselves, and the whole story really started forming. Probably my favorite character in the story and my favorite one to write is Ameline. She's a character from one of the Four Corners from Grissminer, and I just really like her. She's smart and she's snarky and she's really self-assured, which are qualities that I strive for. I certainly have tendencies more like Aura, where I'm not necessarily very confident or self-assured in myself. So Ameline is definitely one of my, I'd like to be friends with her character. So if Four Corners was a candle and was a scent, such a good question. I think it would probably be some sort of water smell. So lilies, the forest, evergreens. Four Corners, the area where Aura is from, Esoterra, there's waterfalls that run through that land. And so I think that there would definitely be some more wet, kind of woodsy smells in her area. So that's what I picture for a candle for that place. My writing routine definitely varies. It depends on where I'm at writing in a story. If I've just started something, usually someone that I try to write as much as I can during the day. I do work full time, so sometimes I'll try to write on my lunch break, or I'll get up early and write in the morning, or write in the afternoons when I get home. But it is a little hard for me to have necessarily a set routine, but I certainly write when I get a chance, sometimes on the weekends. But when I'm really, really involved in a story and really excited about it, I try to write as much as possible just to at least get that first draft out. So am I a pantser or a plotter? I would consider myself a little bit of both. I'm a plantser, if that's a thing. When I wrote Four Corners, I definitely had no idea what I was doing. I didn't plot anything. I just sat down and wrote the story, and then went back and had to do quite a lot of editing. So when it came time to write the second book in the trilogy, I really had to kind of record where I thought the story was going, where it had been, and even more so with the third and final book in the trilogy, that I really needed to make sure that I kept on point for a story. So I did plot that one a lot more. But more so benchmarks than necessarily the whole story itself. I did leave myself open to investigate where the characters were going to go and where the story was going to go, and some of the little side stories. But the overall arc, I did have that plotted out. I think it really depends on what kind of story you're writing. For me, for writing a trilogy, I really did force my hand having to do some plotting. Otherwise, if I flew by the seat of my pants the whole time, it might be 20 books in a series, and that really wasn't what I was looking to do with this story. Other works that I am working on, I am pantsing that more, where they're standalone stories, and so, I'm okay with just seeing where the characters take me. But if I were to ever do another series, I think it definitely lends itself to plotting, so that again, you make sure, your characters, you have all the same characters, they look the same, they act the same, and that your storyline moves in a way that you want that whole overall arc to go. So for snacks or drinks when I write, I am, and actually I'll show you because this is my writing area. I almost always have a box of Nerds. I'm a big fan of Nerds and candy. I like having candy when I write. Drink wise, again, it's usually, maybe something a little sweet, some water with lemon or some tea. But definitely the candy's more of a must than anything that I would maybe drink. So what book am I currently reading? I'm in the middle of a few books. I like to have a couple going at the same time. Usually I do both physical books themselves, sometimes ebooks, and then also audiobooks. So on a recommendation, I am now listening to the audiobook of Beautiful Creatures, which I just started. On my Kindle, I am reading Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl. And for physical books themselves, I'm about to start the final book in the Ken Follett trilogy called Edge of Eternity. He writes really, really big books. So I tend to read those usually at home and have a couple other books going, either in the car or at work. And what am I currently writing? So I finished the first draft of the last book of the Four Corners trilogy. So I am going to start doing some edits on those. And then I'm also currently writing a murder mystery whodunit for adults that I'm really excited about and I'm working on now. But I know that edits for Four Corners and that whole trilogy is really going to be starting to take up more of my time at the beginning of the year. Book 2, I should be getting notes back from my publisher, hopefully any day now, for a release in the summer, and trying to get book 3 done also so that you guys don't have to wait too long to find out what happens next. And so you can find me on Twitter at Kristin Durfee. You can also find me on Wattpad at Kristin Durfee, on Goodreads at Kristin Durfee, and on Facebook at the Four Corners Trilogy. And I look forward to seeing you there. Thanks, guys. It was nice chatting with you.